Hello, I am Tim, the Sightless Cyclist, and today we are going to be looking at how it is that I am able to use Zwift, despite the fact that Zwift is not accessible with VoiceOver or other screen readers, and that I am going to rely completely on screen recognition on the iPhone. So let's go ahead and bring up Zwift now.
Activity cycle, ellipsis. Activity cycle, ellipsis, infinity. And 100 language, default screen recognition, on. Off.
So right now we have Zwift that just launched, and I'm going to use the VoiceOver rotor like I just did to turn back on screen recognition after I quickly demonstrate what happens when I swipe left and right with VoiceOver without voice recognition. So that sound just indicates that VoiceOver is not able to grab any of the screen elements without having screen recognition on. So let's go ahead and turn on screen recognition, which goes ahead and recognizes the screen looking for text and other type of page elements that allows VoiceOver then to grab on, and using the built-in features on iOS with screen recognition, it'll either OCR, which is optical character recognition of the text, or at least just identify that it's a button and try to use image description to see what that button is.
On. Activity cycle, ellipsis, 6, image, clothing.
So by swiping around the screen, there's really nothing that allows me to say what something is precisely. We hear my username, so I'll go ahead and double tap on that.
Activity cycle, ellipsis. Activity cycle, ellipsis.
Now let's go around the screen and see if there's anything else that we might be able to use to get us into the next screen for Zwift.
Controllable button. Let's go button. Let's go button.
So we clearly heard the Let's Go button, so let's go ahead and double tap on it.
Let's go. Workouts, get started, performance button.
So now we're hearing different things that's occurring within the world of Zwift. So we can scroll through the screen to learn more.
Group workout, women's team workout day, starts in 24 minutes. Group ride, towards Zwift 2023 vertical line stage 2, events. Group workout, events, workout anytime.
And what I really want is just to go into the world maps and be able to select a ride from there. So I'm going to go and put the VoiceOver focus in the upper left-hand corner, because I know those are where the icons are that allows us to select some different items, including our settings, but more importantly, the icon that lets us open up the worlds.
Button, art, play card. Button, play card. Button. Illustrations, moon, skull, button, art, button, diagram. Button, illustrations, moon, skull, button. Button, play card, button, art, play card.
So here we are on the 4 buttons in the upper left-hand corner that has a few different options. I haven't fully explored all of them yet, but I know the one I want is a one that had the skull, or at least what it's recognizing as skull, and it's the 3rd button from the left if we swipe.
Button, play card, button, illustrations, moon, skull, off.
So this is one. It recognizes having a moon and a skull. So I'll go ahead and double tap on that.
On. Button, illustrations, moon, skull, illustrations.
And now let's swipe.
Button, art, button, guide, explore routes. Watopia, 8,998, button, Watopia, explore routes, off.
So there we heard explore routes, which means I am on the screen I want to be on, and initially just heard the Watopia, which is actually where I want to go, but let's go through the other items on the screen to get a general idea how this is laid out.
On. Watopia, 1,998, 8,675, button, New York, 8,267, button, sort by. Duration, button, world schedule. Name, distance, elevation, effort, duration. O volcano circuit, infinity H3.02 bridges loop, OK 4. Infinity 4.6 miles, O1 overlay route, infinity 5.8 miles, off.
So what we heard is the list of the rides that we can do in Watopia. And we also heard New York. And I also know that if we poke around on the screen, we'll also be able to find Paris and the other worlds that's currently available. And what I am just looking for is the Watopia routes. And what let's go ahead and do is swipe through the screen. Now understand that with screen recognition and the way this works within Zwift is that getting to lower items on the page can be a little bit tricky just because screen recognition is not generally designed to be a replacement for the way VoiceOver interacts with a screen, as much as it's supposed to be just a tool that allows us to recognize items on the screen to use as a workaround for inaccessible apps and web pages. And what I'm using for Zwift with screen recognition is I'm using it as my screen reader voiceover kind of replacement. So it's not going to work perfectly and it's not going to get us the normal behaviors that we want. So there's going to be some finickiness, but let's go ahead and get further down on this list.
On. O flat route, infinity, 6.5 miles, 203 feet, section sign 1/5, section sign less than 60 minutes, button. O flat 7.8 miles, section sign 1/5, section sign less than 60 minutes, button. Goal set, copyright Beach Island Loop, infinity 8.0 miles, carrot 160 feet, at 1/5, section off.
So one thing that we're hearing is for some of the routes, it's able to recognize the names. It definitely gives us the distance. If you catch it really quickly, it gives you the amount of feet climbing per lap. And it also gives you the general duration that Zwift thinks it will take someone to complete that route riding at just a regular pace. So
button, illustrations, off.
So now I'm going to go ahead and try to use a 3-finger swipe up to get to lower parts of the page.
On. Button. Illustration. O2 Bridges Loop. OK 4.3 miles. 265 feet. At 1/5. Section less than 30. OK 4. Infinity 4.2. O Volcano Circuit. O Volcano. O Beach Island Loop. Infinity 8.0 miles. 106. Copyright Beach Island Loop. Infinity copyright. OK 7.8 miles. Section sign 1/5. Apple less than 60 minutes. Off.
So I just tried to do the 3-finger swipe up. It did not exactly work to get me to move up the page. So what I'm going to end up doing is turning off VoiceOver and just using a 1-finger drag to go to lower items on the page.
VoiceOver off. VoiceOver on. Landscape. Button. Diagram. O figure 8. O18. O copyright road to sky. O 11.1 mile. Of 3,454. O tour of fire and ice. O 15.8 miles. O climbers gambit. OK 17. O climber. O figure 8. Infinity 18.5 miles. 830. Off.
What we are now hearing is a different series of routes within Watopia because I used a 1-finger drag up with VoiceOver off. So this is going to be how you're going to navigate within a page or a screen to get to other elements that's lower on that page or screen. So let's go ahead and just look at some of these options and select one.
On. O road to sky. O 11.1 mile. Of 3,454 feet. Section sign 4 point. Bullet Serpentine 8. O 16.4 miles. Of 777 feet. At 2/5. O downtown Titans. O 15.4 miles. Of 958 feet. Section sign 3/ section. O downtown Titans. O 15.4 miles. O Serpentine. Copyright road to sky. O 11.1 mile. Of 3,454 feet. O tour of fire and ice. O 15.8 miles. Inverted question mark. 3,826 feet. O climbers gambit. OK 17.3 miles. Inverted question mark. 2,200 feet. At force. O figure 8. O 28.5 miles. 836 feet. Section sign 2.5/5. O figure 8. O 28.5 miles. 836. Section sign 2.5/5. Section sign 90 plus min. Button. O figure 8 reverse. Infinity 18.5 miles. O road to ruins. O 18.6 miles. 905 feet. At 2.5/5. O road to ruins. O 18.6 miles. 905 feet. At 2.5/5. Language. Default characters. Words. O. Road. To. O. Road. To. Ruins. O. 18. Me. O road to. O. Road to. Ruins. O. 18. Me. Inverted question. 905. O. Road.
So what I found is Road to Ruins, and this is kind of what I'm looking for this evening, is a nice simple ride, not a whole lot of climbing. I just want to keep it nice and simple as a nice relaxing evening ride. So let me go and look at those stats one more time before I double tap on it to select it and get us to the next screen.
On. O Mount. O road to ruins. O 18.6 miles. 905 feet. At 2.5/5. Section sign 90 plus min. Button. O road to ruins. Infinite off.
Okay, 18 miles, about 1,000 feet of elevation. Yeah, it's a good hour ride. So let's go ahead and double tap on it.
O road to ruins. Infinity 18.6 miles. 905 feet. At 2.5/5. Section sign 90. O mountain route. Infinite. O mountain. O triple flat. O mount. O road to ruins. Infinite. O figure 8 reverse. O road to ruins. Infinity 18.6 miles. 905. O road to ruins. Infinity 18. On. O mountain 8. O in the mountain. O 20. O triple flat. O tour of fire and ice. O figure 8 reverse. O mountain 8. O mountain route. Infinity O mountain 8. Button. Art. Button. Illustrations. Button. 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 Chart. O in the mountain. OK 24.1. O 20. O 3 little sisters. O 24.1 mile. O mountain 8. O figure 8. O climbers gambit. O road to sky. O 11. O downtown. O figure 8. O figure 8 reverse. Logo. Road to ruins. TCH 18.6 miles. Road to ruins. TC. O mountain route. O mountain 8. O mountain. Road to ruins. O figure 8. Road to ruins. TCH 18. O figure 8 reverse. Infinity O 18.5. Logo. Road to ruins. O copyright mounted section sign more than 90 minutes. O mountain 8. L 20. L 21.1. O triple flat loops. 4 lead in. Logo. Infinity H 23.5 miles. O 3 little sisters. Button. 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 Close. Art. Copyright 580. Explore routes. O2.5/5. S and 2,600. New York. O Legends and O15.3 miles. O Road. Copy. O Road to Sky. O Road to Sky. O Climbers Gambit. Off.
So right now I'm having a little bit of hard time trying to select on this one, which can happen. And the only thing we can try to do is just persist with making sure that the VoiceOver focuses on that route and then double tapping on it. Once that happens, we are able to read the subsequent detail screen of it and find that button that allows us to enter that ride.
On. O Mountain Route. Infinity H18. O Road. O Figure. O Road to Ruins. O Road to Ruins. O18.6 miles. O 23. Copyright Muir in the Mountain. O Muir in the Mountain. O Climbers Gambit. Section. O Road to Sky. O Bullet Figure in Reverse. O Road to Ruins. O18.6. O Road to Ruins. O18.6 miles. O Road to Ruins. O18.6. O Road to Ruins. O18 off. On. Road to Ruins. O18.6 miles. 905 feet. At 2.5/5. Section side 90 plus min. Button. Road to Ruins. TCH18. VoiceOver off. VoiceOver on. Landscape. Zwift. Copyright O Mountain 8. OK 20.2 miles. O Mountain Route. U18. O Road to Ruins. Infinity 18.6 miles. O Road to Ruins. Infinity 18.6. U18. O Mountain Route. U18. O Mountain. O Figure. Start ride. Button. Off.
Okay, so I was able to find the start ride button. So what I did is turn off VoiceOver there for a quick minute. I dragged up on the screen once I knew the general location of where that item was on that previous screen with the list. Drag it up a little bit more so it wasn't towards the bottom, because sometimes if things are towards the bottom or the top, screen recognition and VoiceOver in general might have a hard time grabbing onto it. So moving it towards the center of the page kind of gives VoiceOver a good clean grab with screen recognition. Then once I did that, I moved the VoiceOver focus using Explore by Touch to the lower right-hand corner, and I was able to find that start button. So let's go ahead and go from that start button and just swipe to the left to see the other items on the screen, and we'll head back.
On. Start ride. Button. O3 Sisters. Mountain. O30. Illustrations. 15000. Call 29. Copyright 1. 4 lead in. Approximate distance before the route starts. 2.4 miles. 4 lead in. Approximate distance before the route starts. Off.
So we did hear some of the other screen elements that was on that list page, as well as additional details of the road to ruins. So we got to the part that gave us the lead-in of 0.4 miles. So that's a good little time for us to get warmed up before we start the actual main bulk of the ride. And then keep swiping to the left, we'll get some additional details.
On. 1,097 feet. O 26.3 miles. Button. O 26. Copyright outed back again. O Muir in the Mountain. O 3 Little Sister. O Triple Flat. O Mountain 8. Copyright Mountain. O Road to Ruins. O Figure in Reverse. In 1,836 feet.
Well,
Off.
what we're just going to do now is just go down to that start and let's get into the ride, because quite frankly, it is frustrating trying to deal with it, but hey, at least we're able to use screen recognition on, in this case, iPad. You could also do it on your iPhone to be able to get to Zwift, get through it, and get in a ride. Now, when I'm actually in Zwift, what I'm actually using is the Zwift companion app on my iPhone, which is why I generally run Zwift on my iPad, because being able to use the Zwift companion is how we're going to be able to gain that detailed information about where we are, how far we've gone, other riders around us. And we're going to get some of that with screen recognition in Zwift, but it's far easier because the Zwift companion app actually is somewhat accessible with VoiceOver, so it's much easier to use. So let's go ahead, bring VoiceOver's focus down to the lower right corner, and let's start.
On. Start ride. Button. Start ride. Tilde 2%. Zwifters nearby. Sightless Cyclist number sign. Plus 1448 more. Underscore 0. 26.
So there we go. We heard that we are
Nearby.
in
Off.
this ride, and we are getting some information. I mean, there is a lot of information screen recognition is able to extract from Zwift and in-ride. However, it's more kind of cumbersome because we're pedaling, we're trying to get our workouts in or get in the race, and spending time dealing with VoiceOver and screen recognition, it's not that useful when you're actually in it. If you're just in it just to explore the screen, great, like we are right now. But really trying to use this when you're actually in a ride, this is why I say use with companion, because it's the only thing that you can do. Now, one of the things that I'm going to go ahead and just show is we can find the menu button, because that's going to be very important when we're done, because we're able to use the menu button to go ahead and end the workout, review the stats, and all that good information. So let's go ahead and find that menu button.
On. Image. 2140 68 73%. Tilde 2%. Plus 1 2.0 W slash menu. Plus 1 28 menu. Off.
So we just heard the menu button, and what I did is I brought VoiceOver's focus down to the lower right-hand corner, and then I started swiping to the left and to the right. And then I was able to find the menu button. So let's go ahead and show that again.
On. Plus 1433 more. Plus 1435 more. Plus 14 plus 1 menu. Image art. Plus 1436 more. Plus 14% 1 menu. Off.
So there we heard me find the menu button again. Now, if we double tap on the menu button, we're able to bring up that information.
On. Send 1 menu. Menu.
And I'll swipe through the menu.
$1.30. Calorie bar. 1.3 mile. 5,063 seconds. Out. This ride. 1 minute. Out. 5 minutes. 20 minutes. Out. 10,305. 20,000. 10,500. 11,000. 11,000. 12,000. 12,000. 13,000. 13,000. 14,000. Challenges. Workouts. Badges. Power distribution pair. Garage. Setting. Back. Button. End ride. Off.
So I just quickly went through that, and some of the things that we were able to hear is my current FTP related stats that is generated by my usage of Zwift. We heard some other items about the current ride, and then we heard where we can go for devices, go for our settings, and then end ride. So if we double tap the end ride, that will bring us to a screen that then will allow us to save it, send it, package it, and go ahead and get going. So before I do that, let's first get a little bit of a ride in. I'm not going to do very much because I want to show just some of the numbers that pops up, and the best way to show that is to actually get into a ride and get moving. So let me go ahead and get back to the main screen where you see the avatar, and then we can get riding.
On. 20,000. 10 out. 25 minutes. 20 out. 10 20 10,000. 11 11 out. 12 12 13 14 challenge. Work. Badges. Power to pair. 20. Garage. Setting. Back. End ride. Back. Button. Back.
So let's
Menu
go ahead
button.
and get riding.
Off.
Okay, there we go. We got a little bit of distance, which will give us some numbers so we can look at it when we hit the end screen.
On. Plus 127. 0 is 9 bullet. MP. 72%. 2151. Ow. 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 Oh. Ow. 088. Ow. 088. Road tour. Ow. 08. 21. 72. 0 is 70. 0%. Killy loop. K. 100. What rank name. Time. 0. 30. 0. B. 0. 0. 19. Minus 0. 0. Hold 0. 0. W. Point 0. Page plus zip 40. Plus 0. Plus 0. Plus 0. Plus 0. Menu. Plus divided by plus menu. Button. Menu button 233,000 068 double point 1 menu start 1.3 miles 5,000 seconds this ride 1 minute out 305 minutes out 220 minutes out 204 10,000 20,000 10,000 11,000 11,000 12,000 12,000 13,000 13,000 14,000 challenges workout badges power dish 206 pair garage 40 80 100 100 200 200 200 300 400 setting back button end ride.
So there's end ride. Let's go ahead, tap on it.
End ride.
Here we are. Let's just swipe through the screens. This way you get to hear some of the stuff.
Add a goal. Highlights. None today. Plus. Button. Like button. License plate. Plus. None today. Highlights. Add a goal. Cycling goals. Road width. Image. Illustrate critical power. Timeline. General. Button. Logo. 0. 39. Blocks. Diagram. Illustrate 0. 39 ET. Road width. Image. Illustrations. Critical power. Timeline. General. Logo. 0. Art chart. Art chart. Zwift. Locked. Button. Save your ride. Save your ride. Save your ride. Off.
So now we're at the top of the part that says save your ride, and we'll swipe back down through all those items. Go ahead, save it, and move on.
On. Locked. Zwift button. Public. Share to club. Strava. Get public. Down arrow. Zwift. Road to route. Down arrow. Public. Share to club. Strava. Your ride will be uploaded to training today's plan. Peaks. SDR AVA peaks. Training today's plan. Carbon Adidas. Running. Button. Button. Load and save. Button. Off.
So we heard the different areas that this is going to be saved to, and you can somewhat interact with those, and you'll see for my Strava followers that this ride will pop up. And then we also found that save button. So we'll go ahead, turn screen recognition back on, save it, and move on.
On. Button. And save. Button. And save. Page. Clothing. At Timothy Seidel. Ellipsis. Infinity. Less than 6,847. Mins. Play. Button. Change user. Globe. English. 1.32. English. Globe. Change button. Mins. 1.
That's just what I want to show you is that can we use Zwift with VoiceOver? No. Can we use Zwift with VoiceOver using screen recognition? And you have some pretty good skills as well as ability to, if not visually see it with your vision, at least be able to develop a mental picture of what it looks like? Yes. How do we know this? Because I myself have no sight, using VoiceOver, which is screen recognition, to interact with the screen, explore it, and figure out. That's how I was able to do this. And this has actually been me playing around with Zwift, with screen recognition and VoiceOver now for a couple of weeks to get me to this level. And I will say that, hey, it's a possibility if you want to try Zwift and work through these types of frustrations. It is possible when you're actually in the ride itself. It is a very, very awesome experience. I do enjoy riding Zwift. I enjoy being able to have that sense of riding a single bike again, shifting gears with the Wahoo kicker, the kicker climb, and kicker headwind that I received from Challenge Athletes Foundation. That the overall experience is phenomenal to have. It's just cumbersome, to say the least. The lack of accessibility does provide us with a huge barrier that we need to get over in order to use it. But as I just showed you, it is possible for some individuals to be able to use the combination of VoiceOver, screen recognition, and Exploring by Touch to interact with the Zwift app on an iPad or an iPhone and get to the ride. So thank you for seeing me demonstrate this, and hope that we're able to get some good changes going within Zwift. So then those screens that are text-based, especially those initial menus and login screens, are no longer inaccessible to us. And we're able to actually get into our rides and race. Well, thank you all. I'm Tim, the Sightless Cyclist, and hope you all have a good day.